In this video, we're going to take a look at how to mass things using a scale in the lab. I see the same common mistakes every year that I teach this in the classroom, and I especially want to address those things. So while this seems like a very simple instrument to use, you just put something on it and it gives you a number, there are nonetheless some mistakes that I see every year. So the first thing that you need to understand is that there are buttons on this balance and they're useful, and you need to learn how to use one of those buttons in particular. So tip number 1, use the 0 button. That button on this scale is right here. And what it does is, say I put this beaker onto the balance, you can see it has a mass empty of 30.02 grams. So in a lab, I often see students struggling because maybe they need 1.5 grams of some substance, like I've got some sodium bicarbonate here, and they can't figure out how to get 1.5 grams because the mass of the beaker is on the scale already, and we don't want 1.5 grams of sodium bicarbonate plus beaker glass. We just want 1.5 grams of sodium bicarbonate without the beaker glass. So all you got to do is, with the beaker on the balance, press the 0 button, and now it will read 0 even with the beaker on the balance. Okay. Next thing is about place value. This is more of a math mistake than it is a chemistry lab mistake. But every year I give a little mini quiz and I ask students to please put 1.5 grams of this substance into the beaker. And every year I see a lot of students, they'll fill the beaker up with 1.05 grams. Well, that is not the same number as 1.5 grams. Okay. This is 1 5/100ths of a gram. Okay. 1 5/100ths. This is 1 5/10ths of a gram. Totally different numbers. Something similar to that is, if you're looking for 1.5, you'll notice on the scale we actually have 2 decimal places. So what we're looking for is a 1 here and a 5 right here and a 0 in the last place. So what that tells us is that 1.5 is actually the same as 1.50. Okay, and so not every number that you get from your teacher or that you need is going to include that 3rd decimal place. So if that 3rd decimal place isn't there, then you need to recognize that that's just a 0 placeholder. So let's go ahead and fill up this beaker with 1.5 grams of sodium bicarbonate. And just going to tap, get a little bit in there so that I don't overshoot it. It's a good idea to be careful. Now I'm being careful not to get any solid onto the platter. If I get any solid onto the platter, in fact I did just a tiny bit, little powder there, that's probably about 1/100th of a gram. That's not in my beaker. So that's a little bit of an error that I made, but not too big. And you can see I'm trying to get up to 1.50. And already I went a little bit over. Now, can I reach my scoop back into this beaker and put the extra back into this container? Absolutely not. Okay. I went over to 1.55. This is a little bit higher than I wanted, and I need to stick with that. Okay. So basically I have 2 choices at this point when I go over. I can keep the 1.55, and that's what I'm going to do because it's close enough. But if it's so far over that it's going to ruin my experiment, then I need to throw this away and start over again. Okay? You can never take chemical back out of your sample container and put it back into the reagent bottle because we don't want contamination in here. I don't know how clean this beaker is or this spoon, and we don't want any of that dirtiness to get back into the original source bottle. And really that's it. If I hit the 0 button and I understand the numbers and I know not to put anything back into the reactant bottle, then I'm using a balance like a pro. Last thing I can note is sometimes, it's not often, but sometimes you want to add another chemical on top of this. If that's the case, maybe I need 2.00 grams of something else to go on there. You can just hit the 0 button again. Now that the sodium bicarbonate is in there, I could hit the 0 button again. Now it reads 0, and I'm ready to add yet another chemical on top of there. So, just going to take a quick note of what I said. Third star here. And that's all there is to it.